We are live. A comfortable seat. And I'm sitting up on 2 blankets today. Carrie, welcome. There you are. I just saw you click on in. And I have been very fond of Tadasana lately. It's a wider seat than Sukhasana. My feet are all the way in towards my seat, where in Sukhasana, it's out further and wider. Virasana, I'm going to point to you, Joyce, and we're going to look at you. Joyce is sitting in Virasana, which is sitting between the heels but elevated. Sometimes that feels better on the knees. So we change our seats to accommodate what is comfortable, truly. Let it be a comfortable seat for you. The heart and the lung complex has been the topic of this week's practice. It is a week where we, again, crossed over the 500,000 mark for COVID deaths. So it's a heart-heavy event. So collectively, we are all in a state of grief and shock and trauma. We're not quite sure what the future holds. There's this something scary out there, and it ain't over yet. And that stress and tension causes that collapse of our heart wants to protect itself, sinking in deeply. So in the practice, we allow for expansion and space so we can breathe easier. How we breathe directly affects the wellness of our heart. The heart rate variability is a number that the all-knowing they, have assigned for a healthy heartbeat. That when we breathe in about 5 to 6, breathe in and out 5 to 6 times a minute, that is the optimal breathing rate for our heart. Most of us breathe much faster, and we don't breathe with the diaphragm, that main muscle of respiration and breath. And it sits like a dome. So you saw Eric's ribcage sitting up like this. The heart and the lungs and the pericardium is attached to the diaphragm. And when we breathe with the belly, so I'll just invite you to take your hands up like I have, like create a little dome. And your thumbs are right up where the ribs come together. As you breathe in and the belly expands, now the diaphragm flattens, it's contracting, and it pushes down on the abdominal cavity. That's why it poofs out. What this means is that we have just expanded the space for the lungs so that we can take a deeper breath. When we exhale, everything swoops back up again. So inhaling, belly expands, and exhaling, belly softens back in. This is a diaphragmatic breath or belly breath. The heart goes for a little trip. Every time the diaphragm contracts, the heart rate speeds up, the heartbeat speeds up a little bit. And as it swoops back up again, the heart rate slows down. And that is important because we want a heart, like anything else in the body, that can turn on and turn not off completely. But a heart that speeds up and slows down, if we get a fright or shock, startled, we don't die from fright because our heart can regulate itself. So that's one of the components. Just how we breathe is really important. If we tend to have a shallow breath, then we use the neck muscles instead of our diaphragm. We may also be mouth breathers for whatever reason. And in recent years, it has become really apparent how mouth breathing just really kills us. So close your mouth. Tape your mouth shut at night. I'm a big believer in that. You won't die. Been doing it for months. And if your fellow snores, really tape their mouth shut. Or fellerina, if that's a girl, because that again is mouth breathing. We need to breathe through the nose. The sinuses is our little CO2 exchange chamber. Keep the balance of the CO2 in our body regulated. When we breathe through the mouth, we're over-breathing. And that imbalance, chemical imbalance, hardens our arteries. Hardening of the arteries, inflexibility of the arteries, and then ama, the gunk that collects in the arteries, makes it a lot harder for the heart to do the work that it needs to do. Good morning, Joanne. Good to see you and your buddy. And that is often the case for high blood pressure, because the heart is like, I gotta get these 2,000 gallons of blood squeezed through the system. I'm beating 100,000 times because it has 12,000 miles, I put in the email, that it has to travel. So we need to create the best conditions for this. Now, Vyana Mudra, take your thumbs to your middle finger and index finger, with the ring finger and index finger just pointing straight out. Placing your hands with the palms facing up. And now with the awareness of your diaphragm, breathing using the diaphragm, breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Just notice the duration of your in-breath and your out-breath. Can you feel the breath on the inside of your nostrils? So the physical components of a healthy heart is no more or less important than the emotional components. So the practice of gladdening the heart that releases the tension around the heart, around the lungs. In the Ayurvedic sciences, the sister science of yoga, the heart is the seat of joy, but the lungs are the seat of grief. And if we are grieving, if we are sad, that creates tension around the heart and often creates, again, the shallow breath. So gladdening the heart, simple but profound. I invite you to bring a thought to your mind that brings you joy, whether that is a cupcake that you're just about to enjoy, or a memory of a beach walk or a hug, whatever it is. Let yourself just really soak into that notion, that felt sense of joy. And some days that is harder than others. And allow this to release the tension, facilitating the breath to open, to deepen. Now allow your hands to relax. We'll switch the cross of the legs. And we'll take the arms out and up. Stretch. Interlace the fingers, pressing up. A side bend to the right. Back to center to the left. Yvette, welcome. Back to center. Let's twist to the right. Inhaling up. And to the left. Let's inhale up. Interlace the fingers again, other thumb in front. Draw the palms towards the sky. So the awkward side, lifting up, lifting up. The arms can come out in front too, Mary Beth, if that feels better. So for your shoulders, keep the elbows straight. And then take them up as high as they come. And again, now let's side bend to the left first. So the fascia, the connective tissue that surrounds the lungs and the heart, extends all the way out to the fingertips. So Mary Beth, you do just a little twisty of the arm when you, yeah, does that feel okay? So we just work the body, we move the body in a way that's easy, 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 easy. And then let's take the arms out to the sides. Reach out through the palms. And I know some of you have heard me, my little yoga joke from this week. Let's bend up both arms. We'll do both sides this time. And wave. And then stretch your mouth wide from side to side. Do this every time you meet somebody, you're out walking. You're going to gladden your heart and theirs. Let's come all the way down onto the mat and just shake out the legs. Then we'll take one of your blankets, unfold it. So you have a blanket that's about half the length of your mat and also the width of your mat. And we're gonna roll it into a little baguette. And as I said, also, some of you have heard me say it earlier this week, if you have a long foam roller, you can also use that. And Jill, what do you got?
We can't see your mat, how you're folding. Are you folding?
I'm folding sorry, thank you. Yes, so I'm doing the baguette.
Okay.
Which I'm about, thank you for pointing that out, which I'm about to turn into a French loaf. I'm gonna take my second blanket. I'm gonna roll that around it too. And I invite you to have the fringes on the same end. And as you roll your blankets, roll them as if Martha Stewart was standing looking at you doing it. And so you end up with a thick roll that's very even and firm, not lumpy. And then we're going to come to place our head and sacrum right on this roll. Keep the knees bent up. And then let your arms go out to the sides. And if two blankets may be too intense on the shoulder, in which case, you're just going to go for one blanket. This helps open, release the pec majors, the muscles that connects the arm bone to the sternum. Bending the elbows so you have cactus arms. Again, that may not be available. If the forearms gets floaty here, then straighten the elbows again to the degree that you can keep the back of the hands and forearms resting on the mat, or floor rather. Can you see that, Jill?
Is your head on the?
Yes.
Okay.
Sacrum and back of the skull supported on this long blanket roll. Knees are bent up. So keeping your knees bent. And then we begin by just rocking very gently from side to side. Don't fall off, so no kaplunking. Letting the arm that you're rolling away from, rocking away from, be very heavy. But it's a very small rock. Just a little bit to one side of the sacrum, then the other. That helps also get the attachments on each side of the spine, sort of awaken. And then from here, as you come to center, arch and flatten. So inhale, arch the low back, pressing towards the tailbone. And exhale, flattening the low back. Use your abdominal muscles more than your feet. Go back and forth. So you're rocking back and forth over the sacrum. As you flatten, you're at the top of the sacrum, the 5 fused vertebrae in the pelvis. And as you arch, you are towards the tailbone end. Let your skull, let your head just rock along with the pelvis. Being that it is connected via the spine, we move one end of the string, the other attachment should follow. The chin mimics the movement of the tailbone. So as you draw the tailbone towards the earth, does your chin pull towards the sternum? And as your tailbone is lifted up, does the chin also draw upward? And then just come back to neutral and pause. Pausing with the diaphragmatic breath. Belly expands and relaxes. And then rolling over off the support, off your roll. Use the top hand to press into the floor to sit up. And we're now going to turn our roll opposite on the mat. And we just took care of the pec majors that runs across, but the pec minors run in the opposite direction. And for this orientation, now you may need or want to have a block at the ready, at the top. And then as you come down over the blanket, you're going to need to keep the legs bend up, support the head with the hands or hand, and then lower the head onto the block or mat. Can you talk? So the blanket roll right now is right under the heart. Right under the heart. This should be comfortable, not feeling like yoga sucks and you will never do it again. Inhaling, let's arch again. Now exhale, flattening, I know, into nothing, and then lift the head. And then slowly lowering back down. So we have a little bit further to travel. Take a buffer breath here, and we'll do that again. Inhale, arch. Now exhale, draw the ribs down, lift the head, the top of the shoulders up. So I'm coming up, not into a huge curl at all. It's more like just a straight line. Now keep the lower ribs drawing down towards the hips as you lower back down again. So we want the rib cage to really begin to open up here. And once the head is down on block or mat, let the breath again just expand, breathing in and out. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, arch. Exhale, flattening. Draw the lower ribs down towards the hips, lifting up. Keep that engagement of a sense of flattening of the low back as you lower head and shoulders again. And another buffer breath. So that got one of the movement. Now we're going to do the side chest. So as you inhale, arch again. Exhale, flatten, lifting up. Head and shoulders. And now side bend, right elbow towards the right hip. Right elbow towards the right hip. Looking, the head turned left. Come back to center. And we're going to side bend other direction. Let the head rest in the arms. So you're not lifting the head. You're not tensing the neck. Let's come back to center. Lift up just a smidgen. Press the lower ribs down and then lower all the way down. Everything relaxes. We're going to do that one more time. Arch. Exhale, flattening, lifting, and then side bending. Let me have a look. See, your left elbow towards the left hip or the other, doesn't matter. So head is still under, and your side bending on the roll up in your little crunch. Go back to center, side bend to the other side. Come back to center. Lift up just a smidgen. Get those ribs puckered back down, and then lower. Head. Ooh, take the arms out. And now, rolling over onto your right side. Rolling over onto your right side. Yes, the blanket roll is still there. Bend up your right leg. Keep the left leg straight. Now your head can rest on your right arm. You can also have it on a block, a small animal or big animal. We're going to take the left arm overhead. So just make sure that you're comfortable here. Inhaling, lifting the left arm up, draw it down towards the hips. That was an exhalation, I'm sorry. Now we're going to inhale, take the arms overhead, reaching overhead. Get as long as you can on the side seam. Inhale, lift the arm again. Lift the head if it's available. Side curl. And then extend out long. So if you have thoracic scoliosis, one side is too open, one side is too closed. So this is a great way to help bring balance. If you're equally congested on both sides, great pose to bring balance. Lifting as you exhale, arm and head. Can you feel the side chest scrunched up? And then inhale, let it go out really, 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 really long. Now let's roll over slowly onto the other side, making sure both sides gets this royal treatment. Again, I'm going to have a look-see as you roll over. Make sure your head is comfortable. Again, blanket is right under the ribs. Top leg is straight. And then take the top arm overhead. So we just keep reaching out through the top leg. Now let's get the arm movement. Inhaling up. That would be an exhale again. My bad. Inhaling, stretching over. Bottom leg is bent up. Top leg is straight. Now, as you inhale, lift the arm, lift the head and the muscles, those are the intercostals that we talked about with Eric. Those are the ones that we need to engage and then release back out. Reaching as far as is available. Do that one more time. Stretching out, just hold that stretch just for a breath. Get as long as you can on your left side. But the head is relaxing, opening up. And then take the arm down. We're going to move the blanket roll out of the way and come onto the back body. So however it's easy for you to just move the blanket roll out. And then come onto your back. So I didn't start you with a sort of body tester, but as you now rest on your back body, so just lay down. If it's comfortable, stretch the legs out. And breathe in and out. Does the rib cage move? Expand on the in-breath, even as the diaphragm moves down. So the intercostals are part of our primary breathers. The neck is secondary. So creating a bigger housing for the heart and the lungs. Let's inhale, take the arms up overhead. Reach them or out to the sides, wherever your arms and shoulders are the happiest. Now draw the legs together. Dig the heels down a little bit and then pump your ankles. Pump your ankles up and down, up and down, up and down. And as you pump the ankles, let your whole body rock back and forth. Whole body rocks back and forth. Getting the connective tissue on the back body released. Pause as you breathe in. Do it one more time. And then after, just pause again, pausing again. So flexibility of our body, our muscles, tendons around the joints directly affects, again, how hard the heart has to work. Baxter's first sequence is really great just for overall flexibility. So now as you exhale, let's hug the right knee in, chin to chest. Inhale, take the knee to the side, arm to the side. Exhale, come across, twist. Inhale, back to center, hands behind the thigh, hamstring invent, press up through the heel. Exhale, hug the knee back in. And inhale, stretch back out. And left side. Exhale, hug the left knee in. Take it to the side. Give your knee to the right hand and twist. Inhale back to center, clasp the hands behind the thigh, press up through the heel, head is resting down. And then exhale, hug the knee and now lift the head. And inhale, full body stretch. Exhale, right side again, hugging in, chin to chest. Inhale, head down, knee to the right side. Exhale, twist. Give your knee to the left hand. Inhale and back to center. Clasp the hands, press up through the heel. And exhale, hug the knee in, chin to chest. And full body stretch, moving right on to the left side. Hug the knee in as you exhale. Inhale, knee to the side. Exhale across. Back to center for the hamstring event. And exhale, hug the knee back in. And inhale, stretch. I think that's worth doing one more time. This one, you do on your own. I'm just having a look-see about. If you forget where you're going, don't worry about it. I'll make something up. Flexibility, mobility. We stop moving. We become sedentary. And this again causes the hardening of the arteries and the veins, making it so much harder to push these 2,000 gallons of blood through these veins. And if there's gunk in yoga, again, ama, in the veins, cholesterol, then it's harder yet. So just this simple sequence is so powerful, what it does for our cardiovascular wellness. And then as you conclude on the left side, take your hands down alongside your body and just pause. Pause, breathe with the belly. Feel the breath in your nostrils. So the yoga practice is not a runaway train. It's an extension of you. So we take care of ourselves through the practice so the practice can take care of us. Let it be easy, not hard. And bend up the knees if you haven't already. Draw the shoulders towards the floor. Feet are hip width apart and as snug to the tush as you can get. And then inhaling, let's press the hips up. And exhale, lowering down. Inhaling, press the hips up. This is flexibility. Lowering down as you exhale. Getting the tone back on our rubber bands. Now, next time you lift up, we're going to stay up. Staying up in the pose. You can keep your arms here. You can roll them under a little bit further, maybe interlace the fingers. And then we stay. We breathe and we stay. So through the muscle contraction, we now gave the heart a little bit more work to do. But this is not forced flexibility. This is like putting an extra plate on that weight bar because we want to see if we can bulk up a little bit. So now you're bulking up the heart. But flexibility first. Don't bulk without flexibility. Let's release the hands, come all the way down. So that's why the practice, we follow the same protocol each time. Now let's draw the knees in. We have to release, realign, then strengthen. That's the safest and healthiest way. That makes more sense. And then let's roll over onto one side. Come into puppy pose. Tuck the toes under. Draw the hips back towards the heels. And then creep the hands as far forward as you can. So we are elongating, we're lengthening the spine, creating more space for the heart and the lungs. And let's inhale, drawing up into our straight arm cobra. Flip the feet, lift the heart. And exhale, back again, puppy pose. Inhaling up. Lift the heart. Exhaling back. One more time. Lifting up. Tops of the feet on the mat. Maybe lift the knees. Give the whole back seam a good squeeze. And then exhale back to either downward facing dog or puppy again. Puppy or dog. If in dog, bend the knees. And then slowly begin to pedal the heels down towards the mat for the calf stretch. If in puppy pose, come up to tabletop and then take a leg back. I'm just looking to see if we have any tabletopper. You can do one leg at a time, bend the knee, straighten the leg back. So we're getting at the calves right now. We just want the calves to have a little bit more length. It's sometimes called the second heart, because they have to help pump the blood back up again to the heart, the venous blood. Now let's stretch both legs. Look up as you inhale. Let's walk or step the feet towards the hands, hands to the feet, hands to the hips, and press into the heels as you press all the way up. Kaboom. Mountain pose, Tadasana. So simple, yes. Or like one teacher once said to me a long time ago, what, you can't stand in mountain pose? Well, apparently I couldn't. I thought I did, but she disagreed with that little assessment. Ground down through the heels. Draw the fingers towards the heels, but lift the sternum, lift the sternum. And then reach the crown of the head up, 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 up. So easy enough, but sometimes we need a little helper. So take your strap and make a loop. Some of you may already have a loop ready from earlier this week. And have it about leg length. So from the greater trochanter, that's the bony bump on the outer hip, down to your ankles. So with this loop that we created, it becomes a nifty little traction tool. Take it behind, step into it. So you're going to bend the knees a wee bit, don't fall. This was taught to me by T.S. Little many years ago. He still teaches it. I really like it. Because that congestion that we often have around the neck and shoulders, boy, that's just really released here. So as you inhale, press into the feet, straighten the legs, and let your sternum lift, 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 lift. Reach up through the crown of the head. And breathe into the heart. So we are helped by the strap to get that opening back on the front. Now just release, drop the strap down, and then stand in mountain pose again. Did you get a little bit more lift of your inner heart light? All the standing poses are based on this alignment, this lift and lengthen. So now let's turn sideways on the mat. Keep that memory in your body about the torso. We'll take the fingertips together at heart center, the classical Iyengar stance. And then inhale, let's step the feet wide apart. Reach the arms out to the side. Let's turn the palms up. So we could call this wide Tadasana. Can you maintain that same sense of grounding and lifting in this pose? Let's turn the right foot in, left leg up. Inhale, pull the arms up overhead, reaching up. And then exhale, bend your left knee, warrior two. Inhale, reaching up. And exhaling out. Down, back and forth. So this is, again, vinyasa. It's flexibility. Again, putting a little bit more elasticity on the veins, on the arteries. Can you feel it? They're being stretched along with your body. Now let's hold it. Hold it. Check that your left knee is right over the ankle. That your spine is a straight plumb line right in the middle. And then hear that inner reminder. Hug the inner thighs together. So that your legs are really working. So now the heart is getting that little weightlifting exercise. It's getting stronger. Because it has to work harder. So you can always place the hands on the hips if it just feels better for your arms, one or both. We're going to reach out over the left leg and take forearm to the inner knee, forearm to the inner knee. The right arm can stay on the hip. It can go all the way overhead. reach. Still grounding through the four corners of the feet, hugging the inner thighs together, and thinking happy thoughts. Steady breath, steady pose. On the inhalation, push into your left foot to pull you back up again. Don't use your neck to do that. Let's go to the other side, turn the feet. Boop, boop. Arms out to the sides, palms facing up. And then draw the biggest circle you can with your arms. And exhale, bending the knee. Inhale, straightening the leg. Back and forth, let your arms traction up and down. So we're lengthening the side waist. Lifting the ribs off one another. And I think we had our keeper. Now don't stay past your welcome. So if you, again, I'll just say it again, if you start not liking me, you may need to adjust the pose, because I love you. So warrior two, powerful pose. To side angle. Forearm to the inner knee. Press the knee into the forearm to the knee. Take the arm overhead. Now get as long as you can. Can you still see mountain pose in this pose? It's there. And inhale, pressing all the way up. Let's take the hands to the hips. Roll the shoulders. Couple of times. Draw the elbows back. Lift the heart. Let's bend the knees. That's a little gently coming into wide-legged forward fold. So really wide. And the feet are parallel. So just check that your knees are, not your knees, your feet are parallel. Heels are kicked out maybe a little bit more than the front of the foot. Leading with the heart. As the heart draws forward, the hips draws in the opposite direction, back and up. Let's take the hands under the shoulders. Position two. Knees are bent. Now the spine is long. Think of the spine in that position where we were pulled, or the strap was pulling our arms back. Walk the hands forward. Get as long as you can. Ears and biceps, close neighbors. And then now maybe straightening the knees. But spine is king. So if straightening the knees creates a rounding in your spine, then bend the knees again. It's not worth it. Pull the hips back over the heel so the hips are over the heel. Reclaim that quarter of an inch or half of an inch that vanished God knows where. And this pose can be done with a chair. You can have your hands up on blocks. Now let's walk the hands back under the shoulders. And then get ready to pivot. So walking your hands towards the top of the mat as you pivot your feet so you can travel back through downward facing dog, so that we can now from here come onto our back body. Have a block nearby. So as you come onto your back, you got a block. One or two. Walk the feet in. So we're going to bookend it with another bridge pose. Pressing the hips up. Now slide your block under your sacrum. So not the low back. The block will straddle your pelvis so that the sacrum, the thickest bone in the body, is securely on the block. So you can have the block on high, not high, medium or low, I would say. High, that's pretty intense. Pretty intense. Now creep your right foot out. Creep, 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 creep. So we're straightening the right leg, pressing out through the right heel. When do you know you can speak Southern? When heel has gotten 2 syllables. The trouble is always with the emphasis. Are you getting long? Are you getting longer? So we sit down a lot right now, so the hip flexors get really snug. I'm just going to slide up and take the left leg out. Draw the abdomen in and up so that you are somewhat controlling this descent. But you allow the front groins to release, get a little longer. It's a gentle back bend. A lot of important portals here in the front groins. And if that's chronically closed off, we are not giving our heart or our immune system the best condition. Let's draw the left leg up again. Bridge pose. So we're still in bridge pose, passive bridge pose, and you may choose to stay here. The back of the shoulders drawing down, lifting of the belly to come into the pretty carny. We'll draw one knee in, then the other, but keep the low back lifted as you're still doing your arch. Straightening the legs or keep them bent. So as we take the legs up with the shoulders down, now the heart is on a lovely vacation. It doesn't have to work so hard to get the blood up from the legs, the lower limbs. A very safe inversion, but it is still an inversion. So anytime, if something doesn't feel good, because this does increase the blood pressure to the head, then come out of the pose. That goes with any pose. If it doesn't feel good, abort. Keeping the lift of the low back. Keep that lift of the low back. So you're still in an arch. Still in an arch. So the sacrum lays flat on your block, not resting on an edge. How long should you stay here, you ask? Several minutes, really good. And sometimes we practice this with the legs against a wall because it's a little easier. We can relax a little bit. And so if you're looking to stay for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, be against a wall, and then you'd want to strap the thighs together too. But for today's practice, it's still an active pose, which is the name of this pose, active pose. Let's bend the knees. Draw one knee towards the chest as you lower the other down. That way, again, we won't shear the sacrum. Press that leg down into the floor that you just landed to help produce stability as you lower the other one down. And now let's do our squeeze and release. Inhale, press the feet down, squeeze the buns. And relax back. Again, we'll do that 5 more times. Inhale, press the feet in, squeeze, so the block is still under the sacrum. And after you've done that, like I said, about 5 more times, making sure that all of these little safety muscles connecting sacrum and spine have gotten turned back on, then move the block out of the way. And let your body come all the way onto the mat. Pausing again. Take another breath in and out. And then roll over onto one side and sit up. Our last pose, mountain brook pose. You'll take a blanket, so unroll your big French loaf. So your blanket right now will cover half of your mat. And then about a hand length, roll the blanket up, one roll. And if you know that you have a back thingy going on, if you have a little kyphosis, this may be all you want today. You can fold it again. That's all you're gonna want. So no more than this. Your second blanket can either be for your head, so that when you come to rest, so let me just show. When you come down over the blanket, which is going to be right under the heart, so arms are going to clear the roll. If the chin is pulling back, then you want to use your second blanket here, so that the chin is oriented towards the chest. In which case, you can use your blocks under your legs, but you may also just want to use your second blanket under the legs. So everybody's body is different and needs different support. So let me see how you're all getting on with this. It should be comfortable, not feel like I am punishing you. Moving glasses, so taking the eyeglasses off, that allows the muscles around the eyes to relax. Wiggle about a little bit. Palms will be facing up, the blanket, the little hand roll right under the heart, so that the top of the shoulders are now rolling down towards the floor. Mountain brook, the name, because we resemble that cool mountain water rolling over the riverbed. This is a great pose to help opening the heart center. It is a restorative pose, but because we are placed in a passive heart opening for both the pec minors, but also the pec majors, it allows a little bit more space. Now I invite you to place your hands again in the Vyana Mudra, which is thumb to index finger and middle finger. Let your arms just rest out to the side. So when we do mudra, that just means gesture. When we apply a mudra, we just get a little bit more bang for the buck. But we can do this anywhere. You're waiting in line, you're sitting at the doctor's office, you're watching TV. Applying the mudras, you will get the benefit. You don't have to meditate on it or think about it. It happens without conscious input. Now you can add a little bit more jolt to it by using an affirmation, such as, my heart is healthy. My heart is strong and healthy. Our bodies believe what the minds tell them, consciously or subconsciously. What are your beliefs about your body, about yourself? Letting the breath soften. Let it be easy. Belly expands softly on the in-breath. Feel the breath inside your nasal passages. Now let your breath begin to deepen. And you're wiggling fingers and toes. And bending up your knees. And rock your knees gently from side to side. Roll all the way over onto your right or left side. Pausing for a breath or two. And then pushing up into a comfortable seated posture. Bring our palms together at heart center. We'll close with 3 ohms, and I will sign off. Some of you heard me say it before. My meeting started a minute ago. If you have any comments or questions about the practice today, please do reach out, because I do want to connect with you. Let's take a deep breath then. And again. One more time. Bow your head towards your heart. Feel it beat. Feel the life that it provides you with. This wonderful, precious moment. And we'll take the gaze up. Namaste. Thank you. And sorry I have to run.